How was your life like 30 years ago, and how different is it from now?
Well, 30 years ago, I was still working at Ford. I was a skilled trades there. I was a millwright, and so I had to get up, go to work 6, 7 days a week, whatever they required. And today, since 2011, I've been retired, so I make my own schedule. I mean, I still have things to do I like to do, but I have my own schedule, and I don't feel the pressures of work. So it's a lot better today now that I'm retired.
Okay. What was your first job?
My first full-time job was at Chrysler's. I was just about 19, but my first part-time job was at Matthews Lumber. I worked in the warehouse when I was in high school. I was filling out uh, invoices and stuff and getting the lumber that people needed from the warehouse.
Okay. How did you find jobs when you were younger?
Well, that was a lot easier than it is today, I think, because when I started at Chrysler's, I could have got hired at General Motors or Ford or anybody at the time because everybody was hiring. It wasn't like it is today. Jobs were a lot easier to find back then. And a lot of people didn't really like look going into the factories at the time, so it was a lot easier back then to find a job than it is today.
Okay. How many jobs have you had in the past?
Well, not counting my part-time jobs from school, because I had a few of them. I worked Chrysler's, Dominion Forge, the outside contractors for skilled trades, and then I worked at Ford, so I've had four.
Cool. What was your least favorite to your most favorite job?
It's funny because I never disliked any job. My least favorite would be working on production at Chrysler because it was a lot of routine and I didn't have any kind of flexibility in my schedule. So I just had to perform my work and do what I wanted to, do what I had to do each day, each minute of the day, each second of the day. So I'd say my least favorite was doing production where I was stagnant and couldn't think and couldn't do things. Then when I went into the trades, everything was different. You went to a different area. You went to different machines. You had to figure out what was wrong with them and fix them. But I'd say my most favorite job was at the end of my career at Chrysler, or my career at Ford. I joined the union. I got elected as a committee man, and then I worked my way up to vice chair and chairman of the skilled trades. So I think that was probably my most rewarding and my most fulfilling job was being in the union.
Cool. What was your best moments while you were working?
Well, I go back to being in the union. I like helping people. I enjoy, if anybody needs a hand, everybody knows they can give, coming to me. I'm pretty handy with doing things, so I'm always willing to help somebody out. So when I was in the union, my most favorite thing to do was to help people out. I didn't like a lot of the arguing and the negotiating that we had to do for contracts and benefits and stuff. That could be really tedious and actually very nerve-wracking at times. But when you get a chance to help people out or people that are having family problems and you go and give them some help, that was probably my most rewarding was helping people out when I was in the union.
Okay. What was it like working when you were a kid? Was it hard or easy?
Probably a lot easier than it is now because I didn't have so many aches and pains. I thought I was invincible back as a kid. I could do whatever job I needed to do. As I got older, and that's probably why I went into the union, it was a lot harder to get crawling in and out of the machines and everything else because as you get older, you slow down a little bit.
Okay. What was the most scariest part of working?
I don't think I was really afraid of anything. In my trade, I guess you could say the scariest part was when I had to walk, I had to walk beams and stuff to get to cranes and things, and you look down and you're 3 or 4 stories off the ground. It could be a little scary at times if you let it. So I had a major or a rule: never look down. Just keep looking forward because I was not crazy about heights, but when I had to go up and do that for part of my job, I just kind of kept focused and went and did the job and got back down as quickly as possible.
Smart, smart. Was it hard when you started a family?
No, not really. I was 25 when your mother was born. So I was looking forward to starting a family at that time. The hardest part about me with the family was after your mom was born, as you know, I had a son, Jeffrey, and he died of SIDS death. So that was the hardest part in my whole life, I think, was losing my son.
Did you make any friends at any of your jobs, and are you still friends with them to this day?
I made a lot of friends, actually. I was fortunate being in the union. I got to move around to all the different plants for Ford in the city. And yeah, I've got good friends. Some of them moved away. They're in Trenton and stuff. But we always get together for Christmas. A lot of me and the guys get together for coffee. When I retired and I bought my Harley, we would go out on rides together. And these are all people that I made friends with at work. So I'm still really close to a lot of them today. And I think I will be for the rest of my life.
Okay. How has like the buildings that you worked in? How does it look now? Is it any different?
Yeah, they're parking lots. The buildings that I worked in, some of them, the NEMAC plant on the off of Lozon Parkway is a parking lot. The Ford foundry that I worked in, it's a parking lot. A lot of these plants have been closed, or instead of having full capacity, they have minimal capacity. When I started at Ford, we had almost 1,600 trades. And as the jobs were gone, and as we lost the auto pack, a lot of these jobs moved to China and South Korea and stuff. And we, instead of having the 1,600 plus trades we had when I started, we ended up around 500 or 600 trades. So we've lost a lot of jobs, and I think totally, Ford used to have almost 7,000 people in the late 90s, and now they're down to about 1,200, 1,400 people. So it's changed a lot because a lot of these jobs have gone away, and I don't think they're ever coming back because the plants have been closed, and like the big General Motors plant, the transmission plant, it's a parking lot now. There's nothing there. So that's how it's changed. The buildings aren't there anymore.
Okay.